Hello and welcome back to the second part of the HelloFresh Cook With Me. Our second meal this week is spicy creamy Cajun chicken pasta. So that is the menu card. And those are the steps. So to begin with, I checked our menu and made sure I'd got exactly what we needed. And here we go, just going to go to the fridge. And just like that, everything is out ready. So the first thing I'm doing here is I am topping my saucepan up with some water, and I'll be popping that on to boil in a second. Once I've turned the oven on, there we go. So there we are, turning that hob on to get the water boiling. So the first step is bring a large saucepan of water to the boil with half a teaspoon of salt. I don't measure my salt, as you can see there, I just pop it straight in. And then it says, when boiling, add the penne to the water and bring back to the boil. Cook until 10 to 12 minutes. So in the meantime, while I'm getting my water up to boiling, I get my chicken. This week we've got chicken thighs. So chicken thighs tend to be a more succulent meat, and with that means they do tend to be a little more pink or on the red side. What I do, like I said in the last episode, was I let them drain because they do come with quite a bit of juice. So the water is boiling right here. So I'm just going to get the pasta. There we go, 180 grams of penne pasta. And I am going to chop the top off, like so, and pour the pasta straight into the saucepan. Just making the bag into a little bin bag, and then I'm getting my wooden spoon and giving it a stir to make sure that all the pasta is under the water. So I'm just popping the timer on there for 12 minutes. And here is our very first time lapse. We have got the garlic. So this is the second step. It says, meanwhile, peel and grate the garlic or use a garlic press. Now, as I said in the last part, that I prefer to use a garlic press. I find it so much easier. And again, I'm using my little bag to store all my rubbish, which I'll empty at the end. I'm garlic pressing the garlic, of course, but I'm garlic pressing the garlic onto my chopping board because it makes it so much easier to just slide it straight into the pan when I'm ready to do so. And I don't waste any of the garlic, so I'll get all the extra that is in there, as you can see, and I'll pop that onto the board and I'll pop that in the pan. You can't really tell when you're eating the food that there's the outside bits of the garlic because, well, it just renders down to not very much and it's all flavour. So we are about to heat a drizzle of oil in a large frying pan, as step number 3 starts with. So a good drizzle of oil and letting it warm up in the pan just there, and then grabbing my chicken and popping that in. Now, I had put the chicken in a little bit before the oil was quite there, but if you can see, if you've noticed, that the chicken does stick together quite a lot, so I wanted to make sure that it was nicely separated. There we go, some of it has started to turn white on the outside, so just making sure that we're catching all sides so that they're not all pink. Like I said earlier, chicken thigh tends to be the most succulent of the parts of the chicken. I think that's because it's quite close to the bone when it's on the bird. So salt and pepper, Can't quite remember where I've gone to. I've gone to get my apron. This is a tomatoey coloured sauce, so I don't particularly want to be staining any of my clothes, which I have done in the past. So the second of our time lapses is the long-winded, very mundane, very frustrating pepper grind. So the second part of step 3 is, once hot, add the diced chicken and season with salt and pepper. And it's always important to wash your hands and equipment after handling raw chicken. I try not to touch the meat if I can, because I wash my hands at the start and I wash my hands at the end. I don't particularly want to be washing my hands unless I really need to in between. So the last part of step 3 is to fry until golden brown on the outside, which is about 5 to 6 minutes, but it's always important to use your own judgment. You're looking for the golden brown, you're looking for it to be cooked. So the Cajun style spice mix is going to go in next. This is part of step number 4, which says add the garlic and Cajun spice mix, add less if you prefer things milder, to the chicken, cook stirring frequently for 1 minute. Like I said for the last bit, that it's always important to use your own judgment, because sometimes your pan can be a bit more hot than other times, or you've turned your pan down, and it completely depends on your circumstances. You might be using a big pan that might take longer to heat up, or you might be using a smaller pan. So here we are about to put the Cajun spice mix in. Now, we're not too fussed about the strength of spice. It smelt lovely, by the way, just to let you know. So we're not too bothered about the strength of the spice, so I'll pop all of the Cajun spice mix in. That's the garlic going in there, and then we'll give it a good old stir. Make sure all the chicken is coated well in the garlic and the Cajun. Just checking my recipe as I stir. There are parts of this cooking process where I use my wooden spoon to separate some of the bits of chicken. I'm guessing that when the chicken is sliced or chopped or cut into pieces, sometimes they might not go all the way through, so there's sometimes quite large bits of chicken. Just getting some water here ready. So the water for the sauce, which is listed in the pantry ingredients, is 100 ml. I'm using my own tomato paste because I couldn't find the tomato passata. So sometimes, on very, very odd occasions, not regularly, HelloFresh do miss ingredients out. So that's the water and my tomato paste gone in. I'm just giving that a good stir, coating the chicken in the sauce. I do add a little bit more tomato paste and water a little bit later on, just to make the sauce go a little bit further. Here I am thinking that I'm not going to be needing it anymore, so putting the lid back on. The next bit is adding the chicken stock paste. So that is there, and that is 10 grams. Going straight in, just like so. And then we'll give that a really good stir, contributing to the sauce. This meal was really nice. My partner and I really, really did enjoy it. So just getting a little bit more water now to make the sauce go further. It was only a dribble, probably about 20 ml. And just popping the tomato paste straight into the pan. There's no point measuring it. So at this point I had noticed that I'd dropped a little bit of my tomato paste, so just picking that up and popping that in, giving it a good stir around, making sure it's all mixing in just nice. So the last part of step number 4 is bring to the boil, then lower the heat, simmer, stirring occasionally until thickened, 5 to 6 minutes. And as always, don't worry about the times, it's 100% down to personal judgment. So just clearing up after myself, we won't be needing any of those bits again. That's the chopping board, the knife and the jug. So here we go, not far off now, just another stir. The pasta's not too far off finished. Going through and chopping up those little bits of chicken. Well, the big bits of chicken into little bits because, well, it wouldn't be fair giving one person all the big bits now, would it? But obviously we have to make sure that they're all cooking evenly. So just going to give the pasta a stir around to make sure that there isn't any bits sticking at the bottom, which when you leave pasta to cook for as long as it's supposed to cook for, there's always bits stuck to the bottom, which is completely normal. That's absolutely fine. So, time for the Italian style cheese and the creme fraiche. So, step number 5 starts with, once the sauce is thickened, stir through half of the hard Italian style cheese, followed by the creme fraiche. So, we'll save the other half for sprinkling on top at the end. So there we go, just sprinkling about half. Doesn't have to be exactly half, you don't have to measure it, it's purely on judgment. So looking with your eyes and then just snipping the corner of the creme fraiche off there. Trying to do 2 things at once. There we go, Emma. Right, so popping the creme fraiche in and trying to squeeze every last little bit out. Don't want to waste any by popping it in the bin. So that was the alarm going off for the pasta. Just turning that alarm off. And it's okay that the pasta is still going, because 12 minutes is to make sure that the pasta is al dente. So stirring the creme fraiche and the cheese in just gives it a nice colour, making sure that there isn't any spots of sauce that are completely white or not quite light enough. So just going to go and tip the pasta out. So in step 1 it does say, once cooked, drain into a colander and pop back into the pan, drizzle with oil and stir through to stop it thickening. Not thickening, sorry. Sticking together. I don't know how I made that into thickening. But at this point the sauce was ready to mix with the pasta, which is part of step 6. But I was here a little early. So at the end of step number 5, it says taste and season with salt and pepper if needed, but I'd put so much salt and pepper in earlier on that I really didn't need to put any in. We move on to step 6. I've turned the hob off and got my bowls out, putting my rubbish in the bin, clearing up after myself even more. So step number 6 is add the cooked pasta to the creamy sauce and mix well to combine. Already done that. Reheat until piping hot if needed. So this is the second part of step number 6. Share the creamy Cajun chicken pasta between your bowls, and then we will be sprinkling over the remaining cheese to finish. So on this day I'd gone out for lunch to celebrate my Nana's birthday, which was the day before. I'd had a pizza on while I was in the Italian, so I wasn't going to be having too much. So you will notice that there is a big difference between the bowls. That is because I had already had quite a large meal on this day. So just making sure that we're getting all the drips. And we are nearly finished. So here we go. Thank you so much for watching. Just making sure that we get that cheese on the top. Don't ever forget the cheese. Don't ever forget the cheese. So yes, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed, and I hope to see you for the next part. Bye bye.